Good evening. Welcome to Kenya News Update today. I'm your host, and tonight we're taking a deep dive into a critical question facing leaders across the globe: how to navigate unprecedented change. Our topic, from turbulence to transformation: how local leaders can shift their trajectory in 2026. We'll be examining this from multiple perspectives, debating the strategies, and looking at real-world implications. The pace of change is staggering. As we enter 2026, business leaders aren't just navigating change, they're building the plane mid-flight. That's according to President Enchili, managing director of HPE South Africa. The traditional boundaries between business and technology have all but disappeared. Tech is business, and business is tech. This convergence demands agility, bold decision-making, and innovation in motion. But what does that mean for a local mayor in Nakuru, a county governor in Kisumu, or a community leader in Mombasa? It means the rules of engagement have fundamentally shifted. The tools for governance, economic development, and public service are being rewritten by artificial intelligence, data analytics, and digital connectivity. Leaders who cling to old models risk being left behind, while those who adapt can unlock tremendous potential for their communities. But this technological shift is only one layer of a complex global landscape. We're all seeing profound social and philosophical reevaluations. Consider the recent announcement from the international development charity, ActionAid. They are moving away from traditional child sponsorship schemes, following other global NGOs in recent years. Why? Because these schemes, as critics argue, carry racialized, paternalistic undertones. They are seen by many as a colonial relic, a model of aid that perpetuates an outdated power dynamic between the so-called global North and global South. This is part of a broader movement to decolonize international work and funding. For local leaders in Kenya and across Africa, this presents both a challenge and an opportunity. The challenge: potential shifts in funding streams and international partnership models. The opportunity: to redefine relationships on terms of mutual respect and shared partnership, moving from a model of dependency to one of collaborative innovation. So, how does a leader balance these massive, concurrent shifts? The technological revolution on one hand and the socio-political recalibration on the other? We need to look at the data. Let's start with a critical metric: digital infrastructure penetration. In many developing economies, the gap between urban and rural access to high-speed internet remains a significant barrier. For instance, while national averages might show progress, a deeper look reveals that only about 67% of county-level administrative offices in East Africa have reliable, dedicated broadband connections necessary for implementing smart governance tools. This creates a two-tier system of capability. Meanwhile, public trust in institutions is being tested. Surveys indicate that confidence in local government to manage technological change effectively sits at just 52% in several sub-Saharan nations. This trust deficit is a major obstacle. A leader cannot transform a community if the community doubts their capacity or intentions. So, the transformation equation has two key variables: tangible infrastructure and intangible trust. Now, let's debate the first major perspective: the Techno-Optimist view. Proponents argue that technology is the great equalizer. They point to success stories like Rwanda's use of drones for medical supply delivery or Kenya's own M-Pesa revolutionizing finance. For them, the path is clear: invest aggressively in digitalization, adopt AI for public service delivery, and create smart counties that operate with the efficiency of a tech startup. The goal is to leapfrog traditional development stages. Why build a cumbersome paper-based bureaucracy when you can start with a cloud-based, data-driven one? This view prioritizes speed, efficiency, and global competitiveness. It says local leaders must become chief innovation officers for their regions. They should be wooing tech investors, building tech hubs, and mandating digital literacy programs in schools. The risk, of course, is creating islands of high-tech excellence in a sea of analog reality, exacerbating inequality rather than reducing it. And what of the cultural context? Can a one-size-fits-all tech solution from Silicon Valley truly address the unique challenges of a pastoralist community in Turkana or a fishing community on Lake Victoria? This leads us to the second perspective, the contextual pragmatist. This school of thought agrees technology is essential, but insists it must be subservient to local context and human need. It's not about having the shiniest tech, but the most appropriate tech. A contextual pragmatist would ask, does this blockchain solution for land registry actually solve disputes better than a reformed, transparent local council? Does an AI traffic management system make sense before you have paved roads? This approach is about sequencing and integration. It argues that the 67% broadband connectivity figure for government offices isn't just a number to be increased, but a symptom of a deeper planning issue. The Pragmatist focuses on building foundational digital literacy, strengthening local technical capacity, and adapting technologies to fit local languages, customs, and economic models. They are skeptical of top-down, vendor-driven solutions and champion homegrown innovation. The debate between these views is not academic. It has real consequences for budgeting, policy, and ultimately, the well-being of citizens. Let's visualize a key tension point: investment allocation. Imagine a county with a limited development budget. The techno-optimist might argue for allocating a significant portion, say 40%, to immediate tech procurement and platform development. The contextual pragmatist might counter that only 15% should go to direct tech purchase, with the bulk going to human capital, training, process redesign, and community engagement to ensure any technology adopted is used effectively and sustainably. This is where leadership vision is tested. Now, let's layer in the third perspective emerging from the ActionAid story and similar movements: the decolonial strategist. This view forces us to question the very frameworks of progress and partnership. It argues that the pressure to digitize and modernize often comes wrapped in Western paradigms and commercial interests. The decolonial strategist asks, who owns the data generated by our smart city projects? Which companies profit from the software licenses? Are we simply creating new dependencies on foreign tech giants? This perspective pushes local leaders to seek technological sovereignty. This could mean investing in open-source platforms developed by Pan-African consortia, insisting on data localization laws, and building partnerships based on technology transfer and co-creation, not just procurement. It connects the digital transformation to a broader political and economic self-determination. It sees the move away from paternalistic aid models as an opening to forge new types of international alliances, not donor-recipient but partner-partner, collaborating on climate technology, agri-tech, or health tech as equals. This is a more complex, nuanced path but potentially more transformative in the long run. So we have three compelling lenses: techno-optimism, contextual pragmatism, and decolonial strategy. The most effective local leaders in 2026 will likely need to synthesize elements from all three. They need the bold vision of the optimist, the grounded sense of the pragmatist, and the critical awareness of the strategist. This is the building the plane mid-flight analogy in practice. You need the blueprint for a new aircraft, you need to understand the mechanics of the existing parts you're working with, and you need to ensure you, not a foreign manufacturer, ultimately control the navigation system. Let's examine a potential case study: county-level healthcare. A purely techno-optimist approach might involve purchasing an expensive, integrated hospital management system from an international vendor. A purely pragmatic approach might focus on training community health workers with basic mobile apps for data collection. A decolonial approach might reject both and seek to collaborate with a local university to build a custom, open-source system tailored to local diseases and funded through a consortium of East African governments. The synthesis. Perhaps a leader adopts a modular, open-source core system, heavily customizes it for local clinic workflows and languages, and uses it to enable ambitious telemedicine links to national specialists. This is transformation in action. But none of this happens without confronting the hard numbers on capacity and trust. Remember that 52% trust figure? Closing that gap is perhaps the most important transformation of all. Transparency in how technology decisions are made, who benefits from contracts, and how data is used is non-negotiable. Community involvement in designing digital services, co-creation, not just consultation, is key. This is where the move away from paternalistic models in international aid can inspire a similar shift in local governance, away from a paternalistic, government knows best tech rollout, towards a participatory model where citizens are active architects of their digital future. The financial models are also evolving. The old model of heavy reliance on central government transfers or donor grants is being supplemented, and in some cases, challenged by new possibilities. Public-private partnerships, local bond issues for infrastructure, and leveraging local assets for investment are becoming more common. Here, technology plays a dual role. It's both the infrastructure being funded and the tool that enables new funding models. A leader's ability to understand and navigate this new financial technology nexus will be crucial. Let's look at another statistic. In successful transformations, data shows that the share of the local budget dedicated to innovation and R&D, even if modest, is a leading indicator. While in stagnant regions, this figure often languishes below 2%, in transforming regions, it consistently rises above 8%. This isn't just about buying software. It's about funding local innovation labs, prize challenges for solving local problems, and scholarships for tech careers. This 8% threshold represents a commitment to endogenous growth, not just consumption of external solutions. It signals that the community is investing in its own intellectual capital. This is a powerful shift from being a consumer of technology to becoming a creator. It aligns the Techno-Optimist's drive for progress with the Pragmatist's focus on local capacity and the Decolonial Strategist's goal of self-reliance. The narrative of 2026, therefore, is not a simple choice between old and new or between local and global. It is about intelligent synthesis. It's about harnessing global technological currents while anchoring them firmly in local reality and agency. The turbulence comes from the clash of these speeds, the lightning pace of tech change versus the deliberate pace of cultural and institutional change. The transformation happens in the space where leaders manage to synchronize them. For a local leader in Kenya today, the mandate is immense. They must be a technologist, a diplomat, a financial innovator, and, above all, a trusted community builder. They must evaluate cloud computing contracts with the same rigor they evaluate road construction bids. They must understand data privacy laws as well as they understand public health regulations. They must build partnerships with tech startups in Nairobi and with sister cities in Europe or Asia, all while ensuring the primary beneficiaries are the residents of their own county. This is the new plane they are building. And they are building it while flying through storms of climate change, economic uncertainty, and evolving global politics. The cockpit has new instruments, real-time data dashboards, citizen feedback apps, and predictive analytics for everything from crop yields to traffic patterns. But the fundamental skills of leadership, vision, empathy, integrity, and courage are more important than ever. They are the fuselage that holds this new plane together. In conclusion, the trajectory shift for 2026 is not found in a single policy or a single technology purchase. It is found in a mindset. It is the mindset of the builder, the synthesizer, and the empowered partner. It is about moving from a posture of reacting to global trends to one of proactively shaping a local future that is technologically advanced, culturally authentic, and socially inclusive. The tools are there. The need is urgent. The question for every local leader is, do we have the will and the wisdom to assemble them into something that truly soars? The communities of Kenya and the world are watching and waiting. Their future is in the balance. This has been a Kenya News Update Today deep dive. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Kenya News Update Today.